All right, welcome back. We are here with the second group for the season 3 of our qualifying shootout. I am not joined by any co-commentators today. Lukey, oh, it looks like Lukey's in chat. Although Lukey, you should probably get some sleep, man. It's like late over there. Anyway, so we have another 14 drivers today for our second group to qualify for the league. If you're new here and you're watching us for the first time, the league is 28 drivers spread across 2 divisions, and each division has, so that makes each division have 14 drivers, and across both divisions there are 7 teams. So once qualifying is over, we stack rank all the drivers based on the sum of their times, and then we pair them based off of pace. So the fastest in Division 1 will be paired with the slowest in Division 1, and that will make Team 1. And the 2 middle drivers of Division 2 will also be part of Team 1. And then from there, we keep pairing the drivers accordingly till we fill out all 7 teams. And throughout the season, we'll have the Constructors Championships the Teams Championships for the first division, the Teams Championship for the second division, and then an overall team championship that spans across both divisions, in addition to a Drivers Championship for Division 1 and a Drivers Championship for Division 2. So lots to play for in the league. This is how exactly we did it last season. So last season we also had 28 drivers and 7 teams. And season 1, though, I think we had only 5 teams of 3, so we only had 1 division, and a total of 15 drivers participate. Humble beginnings there. Okay, so this league in particular starts today with the qualifying shootout. Cooked sleep schedule, yeah, for sure, man. So the qualifying shootout kicks off season 3 today. We'll be again going through group 2. Next week we will have our practice race at Blue Moon Bay. And then the following week we'll have a break. Actually, there won't be a break since it's an American holiday, and we'll be running an FTGP event, which is our multi-class endurance race at LRC on July 2nd. I think I will be on vacation, so I don't think I'll be streaming then. But after that, the league actually starts with our first round on July 9th at Daytona. And then it's essentially 1 race a week until we get to round 6 on August 16th. And we finish off with a Daytona 175. So a pretty long commitment here for those participating in the league. It's usually pretty fun though, because our league in particular is very collaborative since you're part of a team. And if you find yourself in the lower division, or if you're a slower driver and you get paired with a faster one, you can often learn from the faster, more experienced drivers on your team. And the whole gist of LRC is that we're very collaborative in the way we want to learn and get faster. So the faster members of teams end up serving as mentors and team captains and help overall uplift their team's pace to win their championship title. Puffleman, thank you for following. If you're interested, and if you're just joining us, we're LRC, where we stand for, LRC stands for Learners Racing Collective. I pinned an invite link in the chat. So Definitely check out our Discord. We post all of our upcoming events there. And even though the league has already started and we have about 28 drivers, I think, filled out the entire roster, you can still join plenty of other events that we have that are non-committal across multiple weeks. You can join any single one of them. We have multiple events just about every day of the week, and many of them are geared towards learning and improving. So one of the events that we have essentially every week is our academy practice, and it usually focuses on some type of concept in terms of getting faster. So like one week we'll start working on learning oversteer, what that is, or what understeer is, how to tune it out, how to adjust your driving style to accommodate those sorts of things. In the past, we've done fuel saving, tire conservation, we've done passing drills, all sorts of exercises and different concepts to learn. So lots to do at LRC. So if you find yourself getting bored playing by yourself with the computer, or fed up with the lobbies, LRC is definitely a community to join to keep you entertained for ages. So we're getting underway here with qualifying. Drivers will have 15 minutes to put in their best time. And we're riding on board with Stoles at the moment. Stoles repping the Reese's Pieces Peanut Butter Cup race car. My girlfriend in the background is absolutely stoked because she loves Reese's Pieces. So hats off to Stoles. And earlier, Willie was repping one as well, so we'll have 2 Reese's Pieces cars in the lead this season. Stoles, no stranger to LRC, participated in last season. Did quite well. I can't remember what. I think he finished top 5 in terms of the Drivers' Championship. And his team won, I think, the division in the Constructors Championship for the Division 1, but lost to second against Avanti Corsa Honda in the overall team championship. Toasty, no stranger to LRC, often a commentator for our races, has won every FTGP this year, aside from one. It's our current reigning endurance race champion. Very difficult to beat, very, very fast, although according to Toasty and my records here, it seems like Toasty's spring broke on his pedal, so it looks like Toasty will be on controller. How's it going? They itching bad. Funny username. If you're just joining us, definitely check us out. The Discord link, the Discord invite is posted on Twitch chat. It's pinned at the top. Ryder, also a league veteran, coming back for season 3. Currently sitting at second place right now. The top 3 are only separated by what looks like maybe 5, less than 5, about 0.03 of a second. DS Love, a newcomer to LRC, making their debut with us for season 3. Same with Ryan Higgins in the John Deere livery. Ryan Higgins joined about a couple weeks ago, actually, so he's still fairly new to the community. And spins out there at the last turn, actually. I think that's turn 4. Opts to jump back into the pits. See Orwick making their first league debut as well in the number 60 car. So we got Sleepwalker making their way out of the pits at the moment. Sleepwalker literally joined, I think it was a couple hours ago. So good to see Sleepwalker out on track. Beto, another LRC veteran, coming back for season 3. Scraping the barrier there at the exit of turn 1. Currently sitting in 9th place, we got Dinosaur, our tournament championship organizer. He runs all of the races, the lobbies for the races, and he's currently running the qualifying shootout as well. That's off to Dinosaur. And thank you for organizing the league. He spends a lot of time organizing and planning and setting up the tunes. So hats off to Dinosaur. We got NLR Nixon, also no stranger to LRC, participated in various events, various endurance races that we have throughout the year. FTGP in particular. FTGP is our multi-class endurance race at LRC. We have one every month. FTGP stands for First Tuesday Grand Prix. Kaido NASA, our resident VTuber racer, currently sitting at 11th. Kaido joined us about, I think it was a couple months ago. Participated in the first ever Academy League, did fairly well. Good to see Kaido jumping into the Season 3 with the NASCARs. These cars are much more difficult to drive than the Red Bull Juniors for the Academy League, so props to Kaido sticking with it. Having a little bit of difficulty there. Jumps into the pits to change their tires. Racer X, another LRC veteran, participated in Season 2 in the Purple 29 livery car. Currently sitting in 12th place. Dome Dominic, thanks for following. Welcome aboard. And we got Wrecked Bunny back in the lobby. So Wrecked Bunny spent, I think Wrecked Bunny was in the last qualifying session, so maybe they're attempting to do it once more. I think Dinosaur must have allowed that, since he's here. So back up at the top of the leaderboard, we got Ryder currently sitting up in first place at the moment with 7,000th of a second in front of Toasty. And right now, I guess this is not really representative of Toasty's pace at the moment, since Toasty is on controller. 27.5 is pretty quick. I think they're getting pretty close to being at the fastest pace they'll get to this evening. I think Toasty and Ryder are kind of getting to the limits of their fast pace at the moment. So, if you're on VR with PS5, this is a really great group to learn to join. There's plenty of people who have PS5 with VR. I do. I definitely race with VR, and it's absolutely amazing. And again, at LRC, everything is geared towards learning and improving. So we take like a collaborative approach to the process, and everyone here is really open to helping other people out and teaching and mentoring. So if you got questions, or if you're learning about a specific car, or you're in a league and you need help with your setup, the LRC is definitely a good place to be. Appreciate that, Dutra. Yeah, every week we have an academy session where we learn about specific racing concepts. It could be strategy, it could be technique, it could be drills around passing. We do all sorts of stuff. Yeah. I mean, everyone's learning something, so. And I think that's what's the nice thing about our league in particular is that it's not like a hyper competitive league where everyone is like an A plus driver. Everyone here is still learning and still improving. And it's one of the reasons why we split the league into 2 divisions. So we have 28 drivers in 2 divisions. And that way the fastest drivers are going to be competing with the fastest drivers. And then the drivers in the 2nd division are going to be competitive with each other, which would be kind of nice. So you're not always going to be stuck in a lobby with an insanely fast driver who wins every race. Dutra. Yeah, I was hoping someone picked that up. Thanks, Luigi. All right, so we're back on track. So Broadbean Raceway is fairly simple. It's got a pretty tight turn 1, highly banked corner. We get a lot of understeer going into the middle part and exit of the corner, so you got to make sure you get good enough slowdown on the entry to get a good exit. And then the kink is also not exactly trivial. You want to come out of exit, the exit of turn 2, lined up your car to the left side of the track to be able to hit the apex of the kink without hitting the wall and without going too wide at the entry of the last turn. Dutra, I was referring to the fact that the league has 2 divisions so that the 2nd division can fight for first place without having to compete against A+ drivers all the time. So they're not going to be stuck in a lobby where, you know, one person wins every single race. And then I went cough, Dutra, cough. Yeah, so we got Ryan Higgins with the fastest lap of a 27.5. Very, very nice. Ryan Higgins being a new addition to LRC. Like literally hours before, not even an hour, it was like 30 minutes before qualifying started. He jumped in the server and was like, hey, I want to race. So hats off to Ryan Higgins right now. We might see a new person to unseat Dutra, potentially. Stoll side by side, I think, with Sleepwalker into turn 1. Oh, a little bit of contact there. And dude, Stolz is into the wall. Damage on the front bumper and the rear right tire. Turn 1 is particularly tricky to go in side by side, especially when you got worn tires. With the hards there and then the inside line, you'll end up getting a ton of understeer towards the middle of that corner, which makes it difficult for you to stay side by side with someone if they don't take the high line. And I think for Broadbean, the high line in turn 1 is not optimal. I think you want to actually throw the car down into the low line to get that extra grip on that on that compression and towards the middle of the corner. So one of the main concepts behind passing at LRC is that everyone is entitled to the track. So if you're qualifying and you're slower, if a faster person's coming up behind you, you're still entitled to your line. And the faster drivers have to find their way around the slower drivers. And in most racing leagues and systems, I guess if you want to call it that, that's usually the right etiquette. You see the blue flag system in Formula One and think that's the normal way it goes in racing, you're likely to be wrong. So even with blue flags, the slower driver must maintain their line and the fast drivers need to find their way around the slower drivers safely. So at LRC, it's always on the responsibility of the faster driver to find a pass safely around the car ahead. It's funny when we get a few drivers who are just experienced with sport mode, for instance, that join our league and have a completely different idea of what it means to pass someone, and then they join our league and find that it's a completely different expectation. It's usually a good learning opportunity for them to learn what it's like to understand how to pass correctly, how to pass cleanly, how to race cleanly. And we've often seen a lot of people come into LRC not having this knowledge, but then towards the middle of a season or a couple months in, they become very, very clean and very, very skilled drivers in terms of racecraft. So it looks like we are finishing up our qualifying session. Nixon crosses the line. I think he's the last person to be hot lapping. So the first session is set. Ryan Higgins takes first place for the first track. The current standings right now won't be the final since the previous group earlier today will get mashed in with the leaderboard. So we won't have official results until potentially tomorrow or this evening after these sessions are done. We're currently waiting for the 3-minute post-race, post-qualifying buffer to finish. I think this happens when there's a car that sits in the pits during the end of qualifying session. So we have to run the full 3-minute buffer in order to finish qualifying. Yeah, Dutra knows that he's got second on Broadbean. So this is interesting. Ryan Higgins never participated in an LRC event before, so we know very little of Ryan Higgins, but we do know that he's quick. So I'm excited to see what his times will be for the next track, which will be Blue Moon Raceway, and the final track, which will be Barcelona, the national layout. Taking a look at the results. So Ryan Higgins with first place with a 27.5. And as Dutra mentioned before, I think it was earlier in chat, it's 0.07 of a second faster than Dutra. So Stoles with a good time, 27.6. Ryder in third place, Toasty fourth, excuse me, Dyatlov in 5th, Orwick 6th, Sleepwalker 7th, Beto in 8th, and then I can't see the next page because I think Dinosaur reset the room. So we'll be switching over to Blue Moon Raceway next. The Tri-Oval. Blue Moon is a particularly interesting oval, quote unquote, track. Turn 1 being relatively tight but highly banked. So you can take 2 lines, a lower line and an upper line through turn 1. Turn 2, very, very wide turn, no lifting or braking necessary. And turn 3 is somewhere in between where you need to tap a little bit of your brakes to get that rotation of your car through the corner. And a good exit as well. So qualifying for Blue Moon will happen slightly different from what we saw at Broadbean. We'll run the 15-minute qualifier, but instead of all cars being out on track at the same time, each driver will do their 1 lap around Tri-Oval as their qualifying hot lap. So this prevents any cars from taking advantage of any sort of bump drafting that would occur during the qualifying session. So this is purely on 1 lap pace. One lap pace compared to every other driver without any sort of external influences on their pace or speed. Riding on board with C. Orwick sets the fastest time for this practice session ahead of our qualifying session. Takes a line through the middle of the turn there. Oh, and he touches the wall on the exit of turn 1. Being close as possible to the wall on exit without touching it is crucial to getting a good lap time around here. Slightly taps on the brakes, has to have a little bit of an additional application of the brake in the middle of the corner to be able to make the car rotate enough to get a good exit and not hit the barrier on exit. So times in the 46 are what we're looking for, I believe, in qualifying. With the fastest time in the Group 1 was a 46.3 or 46.1. I'm not exactly sure. Dutra, if you remember your time for Blue Moon, let me know what it was. Sleepwalker with It looks like a Air Force livery. Yep, U.S. Air Force livery. Representing the number 43 on their car. One of the things that Lugi and I discussed during the first group of qualifying at Blue Moon is the importance of consistency. Consistency around Blue Moon is incredibly important for not only this qualifying lap, because you only get one chance to set your time. So if you end up spinning or hitting the wall, it could drastically reduce your ability, not necessarily ability, it drastically reduce your time for your hot lap, and then drastically reduce your positioning in the leaderboard or the formation of the teams. But during the race as well, so when we race here, it's going to be somewhere between, I think, 50 to 60 laps. And doing that many laps around Blue Moon is incredibly taxing mentally. Oh no, it looks like Sleepwalker there spun out, and luckily everyone avoided Sleepwalker there. Props to Sleepwalker for keeping the brakes on and staying predictable in that situation. If you're just joining us, we're LRC, stands for Learners Racing Collective. Click that the invite link that's pinned in chat to join our Discord. So Dutra, I don't think Lugi's qualifying. I think he's just messing around. I don't know, is he? I don't think Lugi's actually going to be participating. You never know. Sometimes, as a commentator, as a streamer, I get incredibly motivated watching other people, so you could see a last-minute change in their mind. It was funny, whenever I was streaming, I was getting ready to stream the FTGP for Le Mans a couple weeks ago, and as I was getting set up, I was in the lobby just chatting with people, and then last minute I was like, I just want to race, just because I just saw everyone practicing with their cars, and I just last minute I just joined the race. Okay, so we have our first driver here setting their time down on their out lap. So Dinosaur finishing up his out lap will be the first to do the hot lap. You can hear him honking his horn as he passes the start-finish line. A heavy braking into turn 1. Has a nice and neat exit out of turn 1. He opts to take that low line almost near the apex of the corner. Reaching about 168, 169 miles an hour into turn 3. Slightly taps the brakes to rotate the car. Carrying a lot of speed through the corner there, getting pretty close to the barrier on exit. A fairly solid lap there by Dinosaur. 147.8 it looks like. So Stoll is now starting his lap into turn 1. Takes a similar line to Dinosaur's, goes all the way down to the bottom there at turn 1. Stoll sets a purple sector with about 0.8 seconds ahead of Dinosaur's time. The Stoll's on track to be the fastest lap. Oh, has his rear of the car slide out just a little bit on the exit and then understeers as a result and collides with the wall on the exit there, but still maintains a solid 47 flat. Solid lap by Stolz. Kaido NASA is up next. Yeah, the horns in pit lane are hilarious. Oh, Kaido there getting really close. Oh, so close to the wall on exit 1. Manages to save the car and not spin it. Kaido makes his way around turn 2, lines up the car nicely for turn 3, scrapes the side of the car on the barrier in entry to make use of all the track possible. Of 148 it looks like for Kaido. The Sleepwalker now crosses the start-finish line. In the 43 car. Heavy braking in turn 1. Also a line further down in the turn. Approaching turn 3. Almost no brakes. Looks like just a lift. Wow, so Sleepwalker just lifts and coasts through the corner. Ends up with a... I think that was a... Looks like with a net 4th place. I think the timing numbers are really off on the display, so ignore those. So Racer X is up in the 29 car. Makes his way into turn 1. So heavy braking down into the low line and back up with plenty of room to spare on the exit on the right-hand side. Very minimal Bullet Express livery with a nice LRC sticker on the back there. Racer X approaches turn 3 Also doesn't use the brakes, uses the outside line, and maintains a lot of speed on exit. Not sure if that's the fastest way around the track, but ends up in 6th place. Thank you for following DS Love. Hope the rest of your qualifying session goes well. Nixon now in the Gillette car. Overall, I've been really impressed with all the liveries that we've been seeing today. It's been really fun seeing all the different and creative sides of all of the people in the community. Looks like it was a 1:48.47, enough to put Nixon in 8th place for the moment. The Beto and the Tapatio number 3 car crosses the start-finish line to start their lap. Beto, a LRC, the league regular, or veteran, I should say. Oh, look at that. Comes into contact with the wall at the exit of turn 1. Lost a significant amount of speed there on the exit. Slight touch on the brakes for the exit of turn 3. Down the front straight once more to finish out his hot lap. A 48 flat for Beto. All right, so now Toasty is up. Toasty is our regular winner for our monthly endurance races, although slightly at a disadvantage today due to having no wheel and pedals, and hits the wall on the exit of turn 1. It's not looking particularly amazing for Toasty at the moment. He's used to always finishing in the probably top 2 of every race that he's involved with. Has a little bit of a slide there at the exit of turn 3. Love the little pieces of toast he has in the rear window there. So 48 for Toasty. Not something that he'll be particularly proud of. So a tidy exit by DS Love at turn 1. DS Love hugging the inside of the turn around towards the back half of the track. Slight tap on the brakes to rotate the car into turn 3. Has contact with the wall on the exit. Surely enough to slow him down a little bit, but not enough to get him above the 48s. So DS Love in 2nd place with a 47, I think it's 47.1. Very good qualifying lap by DS Love. Orwike electing to choose the mid to high line around turn 1. Nearly approaching 171, three almost before having to hit the brakes and rotate the car at turn 3. Very solid exit at turn 3. We'll see where Orwick ends up. A 47.5, enough for 4th place. I think we'll have Ryder, and then finally Higgins will be our last to go. So will Ryder or Higgins be able to topple Stoles for that first spot here at Blue Moon? Ryder, a controller player, despite being a controller player, can put very, very fast times for qualifying and time trial laps. Ryder approaching the 173s at the beginning of turn 3. Very tight turn 3 and exit. A little bit of back end stepping out, but not enough to unsettle the car or slow it down. Ryder crosses the line in 3rd place. And finally, Ryan Higgins, our top finisher for the first round, crosses the start-finish line to do their hot lap in the number 50 car. Oh, gets really squirrely there. Oh, and spins the car. This is huge for Ryan's time. This is going to be devastating. Devastating for Ryan. He picks up damage on the front right as well and opts to... Oh, looks like Ryan is willing to hop back into the... Yeah, Dietrich, you jinxed it. Maybe there's a little bit of commentator's curse in there as well. But Ryan will be allowed to do another lap here. One of the things that we don't want to happen in LRC is we don't want the fastest drivers to have a time that's been affected by a mistake like that, so that they end up being on a team paired with faster drivers themselves. So we want the qualifying shootout to be as representative as their pace as possible. So Ryan makes their way around turn 3 for one last time. Or not one last time for their out lap to start their hot lap. Throws the car into turn 1. The back stepping out just slightly there. Nails the exit of turn 1 this time. And we'll see about the rest of the lap. Ryan Higgins really pushing that car to the limit. Also hitting nearly 173 miles an hour at the beginning of turn 3. Has a nice and tidy exit out of turn 3. So will that be enough to topple Stoles from the top position? And it does. Oh my God. So Ryan Higgins, completely new to LRC, jumps in just 30 minutes before qualifying and takes the first position for the second round. Wow. Okay. So the current standings, provisional standings as they are right now, we have Ryan Higgins in first with a 46.7. Stoles currently sitting in second place. DS Love in third. Ryder in 4th place. Sleepwalker in 5th. C. Orwick, number 60 car, in 6th place. Dinosaur in 7th place. Beto in 8th. Toasty in 9th. Racer X in 10th. Kaido NASA in 11th. And Nixon in 12th. all the cars going out of the pits to do one final lap to finish the qualifying session. This will allow us to skip the 3-minute buffer at the end of qualifying to hurry up and move on to the next track. So great work by Ryan there to grab first position once again. So it'll be interesting to see how Ryan also participates, how Ryan does in the last track. So the first two being highly oval-like, or you might as well just call them oval. I think Dutra disagrees with me that Bean isn't an oval, but I think Bean is enough of an oval. So now we're at Barcelona, Catalonia racetrack, but we are using the national layout. So the national layout gets rid of the entire first sector of the course with a hairpin that connects the front straight with the beginning of sector 2. I think this track in particular is kind of tricky in terms of braking zones for turn 1 because the braking meter boards are way off. They kept the same meter boards for the original track layout, so once you pass like the 400 meter mark, you're actually around 200 meters or so to the apex of the corner. So if you're just joining us, we're LRC. LRC stands for Learners Racing Collective. We're a GT7 Discord group that runs events in GT7. And we do anything from leagues to one-off multi-class endurance races. We have something called an Academy League. We do Academy practices, which mimic in real life academy schools, racing schools or driving schools, whatever you want to call them. And we help teach we teach drivers how to get faster. It's essentially a group that promotes learning as its front and foremost value in a collaborative way. So everyone at LRC is very, very helpful and very, very accommodating and welcoming to others. And we have drivers of all skill levels in the group and participating in our events. And if you want to join, simply just hit the invite link that's pinned in Twitch chat. You'll join our Discord and you'll see that we have something called a sportsmanship license. So the sportsmanship license is a mini, almost education course on how to have great etiquette in terms of passing in wheel-to-wheel racing at LRC. And I think a lot of drivers and a lot of racers, when they come into LRC, might have a different expectation around what's a clean pass and what's not. And I think LRC does a pretty good job of articulating what a clean pass is and articulating what clean driving means in a really, really good way. We even have our own racing etiquette video on YouTube that we make all of our new drivers watch before getting involved in our sanctioned events. So we have some events at LRC that are sanctioned for people with these sportsmanship licenses only, so that we can guarantee a high level of clean racing for them. So FTGP being one of them is our monthly endurance race that is multi-class. And then the league as well is also requires a sportsmanship license, so requires extremely clean racing. But there's also several events that don't require the license, and these are more casual racing events where we don't take as seriously. It's more of just like a show up and drive and have fun and hang out with the members of LRC. And some of our members just participate in these casual events, and that's completely fine as well. Type of events that we hold at LRC also range from using cars like these, a spec that we designed to match NASCAR as tight as possible, but we've also done several other specs. We do GR3 groups, we do Formula cars, karting, all sorts of car and track combos at LRC that you normally wouldn't find in-game, or even in sport mode as well. And if racing isn't necessarily your thing, but you just enjoy watching GT7, we'll be streaming every Tuesday around 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time or 4:30 p.m. Pacific Time. This week is our qualifiers. Next week we'll have a practice race, a preseason practice race. We'll take a break the following week, which is a 4th of July weekend here in the United States. So we'll be on vacation. But then the following week, on July 9th, we'll be starting the regular rounds of the league, and we'll be streaming every Tuesday for the next 8 weeks. 6 weeks, sorry, 6 weeks. Barcelona being a particularly interesting track for these cars, since Barcelona is considered a road course layout. We use the road course spec for the NASCAR vehicle. So for the oval courses, the NASCAR car will have 437 horsepower. In road courses, the car will have 650 horsepower. A little counterintuitive, the ovals will have less horsepower, and that's to make the oval racing a little bit closer and a little bit more stable as well. So we'll prevent more accidents on the oval courses due to having a little bit less power on those rear wheels. But the road courses, it's fair game. We have 650 horsepower hitting those rear tires, and that power combo is what makes it difficult for these cars to get around a track like Catalunya, where there's extremely tall curbs at the apexes, particularly around turn 8 and 9 and 10, the chicane before the last straight. Hitting those curbs can really unsettle the car. And so I think drivers, for the most part, want to avoid them. While doing their hot lap. But some drivers are pretty good at controlling their car over these very, very difficult curbs and can take advantage of them. I think if you're very precise, you can actually skip the sausage curve on turn 10 at the last half of the chicane and simply just drive over the sausage curve. Like, aim the sausage curve to go between the two wheels of your vehicle and you can go right over it. And I think technically in real life the car is low enough, if this was real life, the car is low enough that it would really screw up the front bumper if you went over it like that. But in the game, I don't think it cares. So it's a little bit of a hack there. I think the drivers that will be able to extract the most time out of their laps will be the ones who can take advantage of the different topographies that these corners have, and knowing when a certain compression or part of a corner can give them more grip. As we see Ryan Higgins there getting the rear wheels on that sausage curve on the exit of turn 5, losing a little bit of their back end on the exit, potentially a few, maybe a hundredth of a second or so of lost time there. Yeah, I love everyone's liveries. They did such a good job with them. There's just, I don't know, there's something about having a full 14 car grid with all custom liveries, and everyone spent a decent amount of time on them. It's really nice to see. So with that, we're still practicing, waiting for the final go-ahead from Dinosaur to get qualifying underway. Dutra has joined us for this session. I think Dutra mistakenly ran the oval spec last session. Got the 70-second warning from Dinosaur. So we'll be going into qualifying very soon. So once again, the major differences between the road course spec and the oval spec is that the car has 650 horsepower available to the wheels, and this time the tires that you can use are racing mediums instead of racing hards. And unlike the last oval course, qualifying will happen across the 15-minute session without individual laps, so all cars will be on track. And as we found in the last group, it's incredibly important to find space to make a clean lap all throughout the track. If you run into traffic, it could potentially hinder your lap time dramatically if you get stuck behind someone who is slower, or if you run into someone who's had an accident and spun as well, as we just saw there. So timing your runs and strategizing around the pace and having clean air is incredibly important for qualifying for this final round at Barcelona. Dutra there with the over-under making his way past, I believe it's Beto in the top two. I think it's the number 3 car. Yep, the top two, number 3 car. And we also have Lukey joining us. So Lukey commentated with me in the first group and is now running his car for this specific session. We have yet to see any confirmation from Lukey whether or not he will be actually joining the league, or if he's just just messing around right now. So some pre-qualifying shenanigans, some donuts, get the tires warm, and we're finally ready to do qualifying for one last time for the qualifying shootout of Season 3 of the league. So it looks like Toasty and Ryder lead the pack for the outlap. Ryder with a Maelstrom livery. Maelstrom is the name of Ryder's team from Season 2. Ryder on Ryder's first hot lap. First across the start-finish line. It's just full throttle straight until what looks like the 200-meter mark, 300-meter board. And again, as was mentioned earlier, it's highly inaccurate since those are the meter boards for the traditional layout at Barcelona. It's gentle on the accelerator through turns 2 and 3. And there's a fast right-hander on turn 4, and a slight decompression towards the exit there, and then into the hairpin. Very, very intense braking zone, and slow down to second gear at turn 5. Turn 6 is one where if you are full throttle, you could potentially lose back into the car. And then 7, that long right-hander into 8. 9 and 10 are also very delicate turns where any of those sausage curves can really throw you off. And Ryder, as you can see, has a little bit of trouble putting the power down on the exit of turn 11, but sets a 111.118 and is quickly replaced at the top by Toasty, who is in turn replaced by Lukey. So Lukey right now holding the fastest time at a 110.1. Stoles in 4th, Beto in 5th, PS Love in 6th. Dutra jumps up into 2nd place. Certainly a much better performance from his first session with the mistake of keeping the oval tune on his car during qualifying. So Orwick currently sitting at 9th place, Racer X in 10th, and Dinosaur at 11th. You have Nixon in 12th. Oh, and he gets a little bit of contact with, it looks like Racer X at turn 5. Brian Higgins starting his first hot lap, although has a little bit of traffic ahead of him. Ryder makes way for him though, conveniently. Has a really wide exit into turn 3. Does look like a pretty intense lap by Ryan though, but he will be coming up against traffic towards the last sector of this lap. And Ryan there just struggling to fight in the car there, struggling to keep it straight through turn 7. This be enough to make it into first place, which is again replaced by Toasty. So Toasty takes top position. And will Ryan have anything to say about it? Ryan ends up in 4th place. So great showing by Ryan in the first 2, but looks like Toasty has stepped it up. Beto sets a new PB with a 1:12. Keeps his 8th position. Dinosaur right now running into traffic, so nose to tail with Kaito. Gets a lot of rear end stepping out on turn 11. Although sets a PB with a 113.6. So Dinosaur still improving. Love nose to tail with Beto. Oh, looks like Beto jump. Oh no, Beto dips a tire into the gravel at turn 11 and spins out, causing an incident there with DS Love. Unfortunate for the both of them, but at least there is plenty of time for a pit stop, a change of tires, and a repair job on the front bumper. Sleepwalker back into the pits after having some damage and what looks like a 1.5 second penalty. And Racer X is into the dirt as well, looking for a safe rejoin. And I think it's particularly tricky to have the road course follow the ovals in qualifying, since the 650 horsepower spec is much more difficult to control on the road course. As you see there, Nixon having difficulty with the back end of the car and the exit, which is where most of our drivers will find difficulty. You see our excited audience members watching the race. Our top 4 have not moved since Ryan has jumped. Oh, as I say that, Dutra takes the fastest lap with a 1:09.6. Dutra, with his 4th place finish in the first group, was clearly a mistake on the tune as we now see it. Takes his rightful claim at the top position in the second group. So Dinosaur allowed him to redo his qualifying after learning he had the wrong tune on the car. Ryder currently sitting in 5th, making his way through turn 11. A fresh set of mediums will not improve. Love with a neat and tidy exit of the chicane into turn 11 as well. Starting their first hot lap, their hot lap of this stint on new tires. And Stoll is currently sitting in 7th, not able to put a particularly fast lap together. It looks like he's having a little bit of trouble. Really excited to see the final results with the full leaderboard in place after Group 2 is finished. I think we're going to have a completely stacked Division 1 this year with Dutra, potentially Lugi, Ryder up there, and now Ryan Higgins. Toasty, of course, always a top contender. And then now Willie is joining us for the Season 3 as well. A consistent top 3 finisher of FTGP. So 4 minutes to go for qualifying. Stoll's crossing the Sector 2 line. Not able to improve on his time. 1/10 of a second down. Maybe he will find some time in the final sector here to improve. Sitting nearly just above 2 seconds from Dutra's pole position time. Nixon jumped into 6th to take Stoll's previous position, but let's see if Stolz has an answer for him. And he does, so Stolz takes back 6th position from Nixon. A pretty tight midfield battle here for position. So we got Beto in 9th, C. Ulrich in 10th place. Dinosaur currently sitting in 11th with Sleepwalker just 7/10 behind, and Kaido in 13th. Looks like Kaido's trying to find a good place to rejoin the track. Good job, Kaido. Oh, and I don't know who that was, but they went really off the track there. I think that might have been Racer X. No, it wasn't Racer X. I think that might have been Nixon. Yeah. So Stolz jumps up into 5th place, improves on his time once again, knocking Ryan Higgins down to 6th place. So Ryan Higgins doing extremely well in the oval tracks, finding some stiff competition on the road course with the LRC veterans. Dinosaur sets a new PB and jumps up to 10th place. So still seeing improvements as we're closing in on the final minutes here of qualifying. The top four have not changed in position since the middle of qualifying. Looks like they have been reaching their upper limit in terms of pace. Across the 15-minute mark, Dutra sets another fast lap to conclude his qualifying session with a 109.565. Very nice, Dutra. Racer X sets a new record, 114. So Toasty coming across the hairpin there, turn 11, getting the rear end to stick out quite a bit on exit. Won't be enough though to unseat Dutra from the top position. So Googie now will make his way across turns 8, 9, and 10. Maximizing the grip of the car to turn 11, and will jump up into second place by just a hair, just 0.07 of a second faster than Toasty. And it looks like almost everyone here has finished their hot lap. I think the only person now is DS Love, who has to make his way across some traffic, unfortunately. Sleepwalker crosses the finish line, and then DS Love will be, I believe, the last person to do so. I can't imagine DS Love improved their time with all that traffic. Yeah, oh, and that was actually just their outlap, so looks like they're complete. And that concludes our final qualifying session for today with Group 2. Let's take a look at the race results. We have Dutra in first place, Loogie in second, Toasty in third, Ryder in fourth, Stoles in fifth, and then Ryan Higgins, despite being first in the first two rounds, ends up with sixth in the final round. Nixon in seventh, DS Love in eighth, Beto in ninth, Dinosaur in 10th to round out the top 10. See Orwick in 11th, Sleepwalker, Kaido, NASA, and Racer X finishing up the rest of the qualifying grid. So with that, we conclude the Group 2 qualifying session. And what will happen now is we will aggregate everyone's time, put them in one giant leaderboard, and divide them into two divisions, the upper division and lower division. And with each division, we will pair drivers with the fastest and slowest. And then from the top division, and we'll pair those two with the two middle cars of Division 2. And that will form Team 1 of the league. And then subsequently the following teams, so second fastest in Division 1 and second slowest in Division 1, along with the next two middle drivers of Division 2 will form Team 2, and then so on until we have our 7 teams for the league. So excited to see the potential results of the final standings. And I think there might be one or two drivers that need to still finish their qualifying. So I think it might either be a day or two before we get the final classifications. But until then, you could join LRC actually to figure out what the results are. So join our Discord. You can click on the invite link that is stickied to the top of chat. Join our Discord there, and then you'll eventually be able to join all of our events, keep up with the league, race with us, learn with us. And if you're interested in just watching the races and in spectating, definitely feel free to follow our channel and subscribe. And we'll be here every Tuesday for the next 10 weeks, aside from 1 or 2 weeks where there is no race. So definitely stay tuned, and thanks for watching.